Today, we're diving into a story that you probably won't see in the news. It's a story that goes back centuries, and according to our source material, it's about something at the very core of Bengali identity: honesty.
You know, we're constantly bombarded with bad news. Crime, corruption, you name it. It's so easy to start thinking that's the whole picture. But what if the real story, the one that's happening every single day, is something else entirely?
So picture this. You're a man in Dhaka. You reach into your pocket and nothing. Your wallet is gone. And inside, your national ID, your license, and your entire month's salary. The panic is immediate. It's not just the money. It's the nightmare of bureaucracy you're now facing to replace everything.
He runs back, retracing his steps, and finds the peanut seller he'd bought from just a little while ago. And there, waiting for him, is the seller, holding his wallet. Every single taka, every document is still inside. Just a simple, decent act. But for that man and his family, it meant absolutely everything.
Okay, now let's scale that up a lot. A truck driver, Mohammed Babu, is on the highway and sees a bag fall off a motorcycle. He pulls over, grabs it, and inside, it's just stuffed with cash. We're talking 2.5 million taka.
So he gets a hold of the police, and they find the owner. The guy's in tears, just so grateful, and he offers a reward. But Mohammed Babu's response just says it all, doesn't it? For him, doing the right thing was the reward. His integrity was never for sale. It's just who he is.
Or about this one. A rickshaw puller, Aminul Islam, finds an iPhone 13 Pro Max in his rickshaw. The phone's dead. Now, he can't even afford the right charger for it. So what does he do? He takes out the SIM, puts it in his own little basic phone, and just waits. He waits for the owner to call so he can give it back.
And what he said afterwards is just so powerful. He says, look, I am poor, we have hardships, but I have no greed. He draws this really clear line. His financial situation has nothing to do with his character. Honesty for him is a choice. It's a way of life.
Now, you might hear these stories, the peanut seller, the truck driver, the rickshaw puller, and think, wow, those are nice, but they must be exceptions, right? Well, the source material argues that this isn't just a collection of random feel-good stories. It's a fundamental part of a character that has incredibly deep historical roots.
Let's actually jump back in time for a second. The evidence for this goes back centuries. We have these incredible records from 600 years ago, and then again from 350 years ago, and they all paint a really consistent picture. And this isn't just some old folktale. It's history, written down by outsiders.
About 600 years ago, during the reign of Sultan Ghiyasuddin Azam Shah, Chinese envoys came to Bengal and they wrote down what they saw. And their conclusion was really simple and pretty amazing. They essentially gave the people 2 certificates of character. They don't lie and they don't cheat.
Okay, now fast forward a bit. A shepherd boy and his father stumble upon pots filled with gold and precious gems. They immediately know it's royal treasure, and they go to great lengths to return it all to the governor. Now, get this. The value of that treasure in today's money, it would be worth almost $1 billion. $1 billion. And they returned it, just like that.
So this brings us to the big question, right? If you have this incredible history, and you have these powerful modern examples, how do you square that with all the headlines we see about corruption? It feels like a total contradiction.
It's almost like there are 2 different realities existing at the same time. On one side, you've got the narrative we always hear, the scandals, the greed, the corruption. But on the other, you have the quiet, everyday reality of ordinary people: honesty, integrity, and faith.
So, what happened? Well, the source offers an explanation. It argues that this kind of systemic corruption isn't actually native to the culture at all. It was introduced. Colonial rule came in and just dismantled the traditional social fabric and education systems, replacing them with a structure that created a new class of people loyal to the rulers, not to their own community. And that, the source argues, is where the rot started.
The real challenge, then, isn't about trying to create honesty out of thin air. It's about figuring out how to break this corrupt cycle and let that inherent national character, that goodness, come to the surface again. So, how do you even begin to do that?
Well, we can actually look at what other countries have done. Back in the 70s, Singapore basically decided that trying to change the adults was a lost cause. So they went all in on the next generation. They made ethics, discipline, and integrity the absolute core of their school system, hoping it would create this ripple effect that would change society from the kids up.
And you can see how it works in these tiny moments. A parent goes to throw some trash on the street, and their little kid says, "My teacher said not to throw trash here."
That simple sentence from a child can be way more powerful than any law. It's how real, lasting change happens.
And really, that's the key takeaway here. Economic growth is obviously super important, but it's not the entire puzzle. The real path forward, the way to reclaim that deep-rooted identity, is through a moral revival. It's about investing in character just as much as we invest in bridges and roads.
And when you get right down to it, it all comes back to this. These are the words of a day laborer who found and returned 190,000 taka and didn't even want his name mentioned. His reason? It wasn't about laws or what people would think. It was this deep personal belief that one day he'd have to answer for his actions. That's the foundation.
So that leaves us with one last, really important question. History has already given its certificate of honesty, and ordinary people are proving it true every single day. But the future, well, that's the story we're all writing right now. So the real question isn't just what history says about the past, it's what will our children say about us?